All right, so we are moving on to talking about parallel lines. So if you notice these little red arrows right here in the line, that proves that these two lines are parallel. And then this line that goes through here, this is called a transversal. And all it means is it's a line that cuts through both parallel lines, creating angles, right? So when this line gets drawn, you have 2 and 3 are created. We already know that those are called vertical angles. And then 6 and 7 are created. Those are called vertical angles. Or 8 and 5 are vertical angles. Or 4 and 1 are vertical angles, right? So we're going to continue to look for vertical angles as we're going through these pieces. But then there's other types of angles that we're going to need to know as well. So hopefully we know as well, this is a supplementary angle. These are supplementary angles. These are supplementary angles. And these are supplementary angles, right? They add to be 180. But in addition to that, these are also supplementary angles. So you're looking at every single little piece to help us identify information where we can solve. When you're given one angle, you can solve every other angle with these. Okay, just knowing that those are going to be supplementary, meaning they add to 180. Then there's other angles to make sure that we understand as well. So on our transversal, these are called interior angles, right? They're inside the two parallel lines. So these are going to be interior. And what we can have is we can have alternate interior angles. So if I have 4 and 5, they're going to add up to be 180 degrees. And then 3 and 6 are also going to add up to be 180 degrees. So when we have alternate interior angles, they're on alternate sides of the transversal. They're on opposite sides of the transversal. So 4 and 5 are alternate interior, and 3 and 6 are alternate interior. But then we can also have consecutive interior. Consecutive just means that they're on the same side of the transversal. So I'm going to come over here and put some information on here. Alternate interior. Okay, again, opposite sides of the transversal, or consecutive interior, meaning the same side of the transversal in the middle of the two parallel lines. But then we're also going to have, instead of interior, we can also have exterior. So meaning 2 and 7 are alternate exterior angles, right? They go opposite sides of the transversal, but they're outside of the two parallel lines. And then 1 and 8 would also be alternate exterior. So this is another one to know, that those are going to be the same measurement. And then the last thing we're going to have to make sure we can identify are corresponding angles. And what corresponding means, if we took this piece and just slid it over here on top of this piece, the 2 would go directly on the 6. 2 and 6 are corresponding angles. The 4 would lay right on the 8. Those are corresponding angles. The 1 would go right on the 5. That's a corresponding angle. And the 3 would go right on the 7. Those are corresponding angles, meaning they measure the same thing, because if you slide it down there, they're essentially the same exact measurement of angle. Okay, so what does all that mean? Well, that means that we need to be able to look at all this information and answer questions as they're given to us. So this question says, which of these pairs of angles are corresponding angles? Okay, so again, corresponding means if we slid this group of angles over here, which ones would lay directly on one another? So let me scroll this up a little bit. And let's see what we have. So we're looking at 6 and 7. Well, 6 and 7 are vertical angles, right? So those are not corresponding. So that's out. 1 and 5, if we took this group and slid it straight over here, yes, those would be in the exact same location. 1 and 8, so if I go 1 and 8, those are actually alternate exterior. right? They're opposite sides of the transversal outside the parallel lines. And 4 and 6 are going to be consecutive interior because they're on the same side of the transversal on the inside. So knowing all the vocabulary terms will help you make sure you can identify the answers as well. Okay, let's see what the next question gives us. So we said it was this one. All right, this one says, what is the relationship between angles 3 and angle 6? So again, this is where knowing the vocabulary is going to come into play. I have 3 and I have 6. If you notice, this time the parallel lines are set up in a different direction. So these are interior, right? These are between the two parallel lines, and they're opposite sides of the transversal. This is the transversal, the line that cuts through them. So that means we're looking at alternate interior angles. Okay. So let's hit enter on that, and let's look at the next one. So I would definitely write these down so that you have them. You can refer to them until they become second nature. This next one says, which of these pairs are alternate exterior angles? Okay. So again, alternate exterior means that they're going to be outside of the two parallel lines, and they're going to be opposite sides of each other. Okay. So 4 and 5 are alternate interior. Okay. They are alternate sides of the transversal, but those are interior. They're right here. Okay. 2 and 7, those are going to be your alternate exterior, right? They're opposite sides, but they're on the outside of the two parallel lines. 3 and 5, those are going to be same side interior, or we said consecutive interior. And then 2 and 6, those are corresponding. If I slid that top group down to this one, those would be corresponding. Okay, so being able to identify each one will help us make sure that we are practicing the vocabulary as we go. Okay, let's see what this one gives us. Let me erase all this. So this one, it says, which of these pairs are vertical angles? So hopefully vertical, pretty easy to see. But let's see what we got here. 2 and 7. 2 is up here, 7's out here. That is going to be alternate exterior. 5 and 8 are right here. Those are vertical. 3 and 5, that is same side or consecutive interior. And 3 and 6, those are alternate interior. Okay, so again, just using your vocabulary as we go through to prove that those are going to be correct. So again, don't worry about what direction everything is slanted or drawn. We are just looking at the pieces as they are given to us. This one says, which relationship between 3 and 5? So we're going to look at 3 and 5. Let's see, 3 is here, 5 is here. It's on the same side of the interior. So that would be consecutive. So it's not vertical, not alternate, not corresponding. It'd be consecutive angles. Okay. What is the relationship between 3 and 6? So let's scroll up here and let's look at 3 and 6. 3 is here, 6 is here. They're alternate interior because they're in between the two parallel lines. So they're alternate interior. So really pay attention to the difference between interior and exterior. Okay, interior is inside, exterior is outside. This one says which ones are alternate exterior, right? So let's see, 3 and 6. 3 is inside, 6 is inside. So those are alternate interior. The question is wanting alternate exterior. We have 2 and 7. This is top right, this is top left. They go across the transversal. So that's going to be our answer. Okay, 5 and 8 are vertical. And 4 and 6 are same side interior or consecutive. Okay, so Again, I would have them written down. That way it'll help you as you're starting to learn these, but we're going to continue to use these. So definitely make sure that you commit these to memory. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and you get your 10 points, get more math.